Welcome to another video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And today we're doing our monthly debrief for August of 2024, which I believe is Season 4, Episode 8.
Mm-hmm. Booyah.
That's crazy. We've been doing this a long time.
That's insane. I remember when we started it, like 4 years ago.
Yeah, and it was like, will this be something that we stick to?
Huh.
Part of it was like, because I'm a person in my life, I will very regularly start an initiative and not follow through.
No.
I'll be honest.
What?
I'll be honest, that's me.
No.
What? There's like 7 unfinished hobbies down here?
I mean, there's 35 unpainted minis that are half painted.
From like 7 different games.
Yeah.
So
We're all like that.
I know, but
That's part of a hobby.
But so like when I watch YouTube,
Yeah.
which is more than I'd like to admit, I like consistency. I like a series to be consistent, right? Like if I like it, I want
You
more
want to watch
of it,
more
right?
of it, yeah.
And if that ends or it just kind of tapers off, it's like,
Disappointing.
"Aw, man, that's over." And so I didn't want that to be the case, and we're still going strong, and I'm really happy about it.
And I remember when we started it, I think we thought, yeah, this will be something we do occasionally, and maybe we try to do it every month, but we literally do it every month.
Yeah.
It's like something we think about and kind of look forward to and discuss. What are we going to talk about? What's going to come up? It's fun.
And I also think it's a great way to help us to stay a bit more focused as well. I think about the before times, like, we just must have been playing whatever was at our whim.
Like Squirrel.
Where
Let's play that one. And we're still somewhat like that.
It's still like, but at least like we have like a 3 or 4 week outlook.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, we said we're going to play this. Hey, this is what we want to try and do and squeeze into the calendar.
An interesting thing that I would love to do, and maybe I will spend some time doing it,
Oh no.
is going back to each monthly debrief video, looking at what we say we're going to play for the next month.
Yeah.
And then actually watching the next month and seeing what we ended up playing. More often than not, we at least play 1, maybe 2 of the games that we've mentioned.
I would like to think that at least 2, like 2.5
out of the
is probably a good average.
out of the
half
4 or
the time
5.
we've already played one that day.
It's a slam dunk.
That's a given.
Or if it's later in the month, we might have even already played 2 games.
And then there'll be like one flagpole game that we're like, we definitely want to play that. That almost always gets played. And then there's usually, then you get into the half, right? So it's usually, I would say 2.5 is probably, that's my guess.
I will think about spending some time.
That is a
doing
lot
that.
of time.
I'll create a little spreadsheet. No, I don't think it would be that much time.
We've done a lot of these.
No, I get it, but I would just have to go to the specific parts of each of those videos, write those down, and then I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Just
I'm gonna do it.
Don't sell yourself short. That is not an insignificant investment of time and effort.
All right. Well, we'll see. As if the blog and the YouTube channel isn't an insignificant investment of time.
But like
an initiative.
Most people, no offense, most people can't sit down for a 2.5 hour war game, and you're going to spend 2.5 hours scrubbing our videos about some war games.
Yeah, that sounds stupid.
Just like, pat yourself on the back when you're done with it. That's all.
It's ridiculous. All right. Okay. But I do a lot of ridiculous things in my life.
Yeah.
Especially for this stupid hobby we do.
Just talk about them out loud and do them publicly.
Yeah, ridiculous. I think you need to tell your story about your therapist.
Well,
that was hilarious today when you shared that.
Well, yeah.
I would have never guessed that was something that came up when you're going through therapists.
Yeah,
Therapy.
Well, it was funny because
hilarious.
We were just talking about...
What were we talking about?
Well, we were just talking about... Because you were talking about going to WBC.
And going alone.
And how far you've come to be able to do that on your own. Because when we started this, we were very different people.
Very different.
And our first WBC, which was our first major war game convention, we drove there for 6 hours, and
I still can't believe that we did that. Because we had no idea where we were going.
Totally out of our comfort zone.
We didn't really know anyone there, other than through social media.
Yes, we'd exchanged emails with some people who were there,
And
like
talked to some
publishers
designers
and some guys. And thank goodness for Mo
Mo Fitzgerald
from Mo's Gaming Table.
Yep, he was a godsend.
We were
day.
texting him. He walked out of the convention, met us at the door, which is a whole ordeal because there's 10 doors to that place. So they go, and he like walked us in and like introduced us to some people, made us feel right at home.
Well, and really stuck with us. We like played at least one game with him.
At least
did we do
one.
a second? Maybe we just did one.
I think we did at least another one.
Okay.
But that was such a welcoming experience that made what would have been a very fraught and anxious and anxiety-ridden thing of like,
and
it was very new. We just didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Well, and we didn't know Mo, and Mo really didn't know us other than Twitter and stuff like that. But for him to be that cool to us, thank you, Mo.
Yes.
That's something that has stuck with us for 8 years now.
Yes.
7 years, because that was like 7 years. It was 2018. So 6 years ago, right? Almost 7.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. But like that's what we were discussing, and then I was like, well, I was talking to my therapist the other week about like what anxiety looks like to me, and then like
you have anxiety,
right?
What?
This is all a facade, by the way.
And I have terrible anxiety, but my anxiety is like, it's like a driving force that causes me to just
nice and healthy. Yeah. But like, and like the conversation was like, I was like, well, yeah, you know, like I used to be like almost much worse, but I have learnt to kind of put myself out there. And she was like, how have you put yourself out there? And I was
Wargames.
like, well, let me tell you about my YouTube channel that we just hit 19,000 subscribers for. And she was like, sorry, what?
What did you say? Huh?
And so then I had to explain to her what this is.
And you're how old are you? You are 36?
I'm 35. I'll be 36 in
35.
November.
36 in November. You're a 36-year-old dude, and you just admitted to a stranger that you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But
I thought that was incredible. Like, when you said that, I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, but then she was like, yeah, like, what you guys do is hilariously, like,
unique.
That is very, very seldom do people put themselves out there. So, welcome to our gaming team.
It also, to bring this full circle, it also was a part of the discussion because I was worried about some of the words that I use regularly.
Yes.
Like my idiosyncratic, moronic statements that I say all the time. We won't go into that. People are now screaming,
you know,
like
you
this
know.
and that. And it's part of who we are and the way that we communicate.
Yeah.
And
it's
anyway,
understanding that everyone has their parlance and everyone says their things that they say.
Well, you have a speech pattern.
Yes.
And you use about the same couple hundred words, let's be honest.
And you have your same favorite 5 metaphors that you use.
Right, I use those a lot at work. People get sick of them.
But that's why.
And most of mine are good and farmy because I grew up on a farm.
But they love that. They love
They
that.
do it. It's folksy.
It's the hometown.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
So
I've used that to get many a job.
So Wargames.
In a good way. In a good way, right?
But yeah, that's what we were talking about.
In addition to playing some games.
Yes.
But we played a lighter game, so we were able to talk a little bit more.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just a little psychotic look inside of who we are.
It's not just Wargames.
Yeah. I don't go to a therapist, but I desperately need to go to a therapist. My wife tells me all the time that I need to go, and I tell her no.
And if you think you don't, you're the people who do.
Yeah, I probably do. I actually have therapy with myself.
Yes.
I cannot sleep at night sometimes, and I go over things. And I
talk yourself down off of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
I go through things. I could have done this differently. Or, what did he mean by that? You know, that's my other favorite.
As long as it's not paralyzing and you're like, oh no.
Yeah. Anyway.
So welcome to the Player's Aid. We're going to talk about war games.
Yeah, if you don't know who we are, well, we just gave you a great insight. So turn the channel off now. You'll save yourself 2 hours.
So let's go over the games that we played. Oh, before we do that, I'm sure they'll be happy about this. This video is sponsored by Noble Knight Games. If you need retail therapy, which is a different kind of therapy, nobleknightgames.com is one of the best places you can go. I just placed an order for some books from there.
Books, you say?
Spoiler alert for later on.
That's one of the topics tonight.
So you can go on there and you can buy any nerdy type thing that your heart desires.
Yep.
They have all sorts of stuff there, and you can use watch lists and get an email reminder for when stuff comes in stock. So love that.
Yeah.
A little bit more from them later on.
Can I make one more comment about that? Because
Sure.
have you seen my little F4F Wildcat model? You don't ever come to my house.
I haven't seen it, no.
My
I was going
F4F
over at Labor Day.
and
but-
my SBD3 Dauntless.
Yes.
So they are really nice. They're very, very cool. Noble Knight has those. And I was looking at them the other day. And when you asked me,
the same ones or different, like in the line?
I think they have some of the same model type, but they have others that look just as cool.
Well.
And I was like, so there's another addiction.
So you
I have two of those.
You have a couple at home.
I do.
Well, you need one for your desk at work.
Yes. that
So
would be-
just bear that in mind.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. I also would love to
Because you
talk
can point that towards the people that come into your
that
office.
I'm trying to get out of my office, like I'm trying to
The
bomb them
Claymore
to
is-
oblivion.
is too
Yes.
much.
Yeah. Ron Swanson.
But a nice little airplane
Yeah,
with
yeah,
some
yeah.
machine guns and some rockets.
I also, can I share one other thing? Just
What?
one of our obsessions.
oh, yes. No, this is so much more. This is better than. Okay, get the other one.
All right. Okay, so we're going to share this, and you can think whatever you want.
Because this was not from. This was a gift.
It was, but I know somebody's going to say, well, that's why you play his games, and why you like his games. If that's what you think, okay. All right, so one of our friends, Gregory Smith, you guys know Greg.
He gives us a gift.
I love Greg. He's an amazing guy. So he has a cool game called Viking Dawn that is coming out. I think it's coming out in Paper Wars,
Yes.
which is Compass
Yes.
Games magazine, in the next 18 months. He doesn't really know, right? But it's a Viking game based on an Avalon Hill game from like 40 years ago.
Yep.
And it is about exploring, settling, warring, pillaging, the things that Vikings do.
Yes.
Drinking, that kind of thing. Mead. And Greg mailed to us, both of us. Mine is at home. He mailed us these wooden shields.
How much does this weigh?
This is like, 10 pounds? Because it is so thick.
Yeah.
Nah, maybe 8. It's unwieldy because it's so big.
Like it's fully a wooden shield.
And it has like armbands.
It's like an inch thick.
like leather armbands, and then this is a strap that you can put over your back and like carry it to protect your back if somebody's shooting arrows at you.
You'll see me at Gen Con sweating
But
wearing it.
he sent these to us, and we're idiots. We had to do what? We're like, well, now we need cool axes.
For legal reasons, this is a toy.
But actually, we got these for a really good price.
Yeah, this is from a hatchet company.
And it's like a camping axe.
Yes.
Right? But
This is fully a steel.
we bought 2 of them, and we're trying now to figure out how to mount like this.
Hang it on
a wall
I
somehow.
gotta get a cloak.
Yeah, I don't know. We're morons, but that gives you another insight into the idiocy.
So thanks,
that,
Greg. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And if you want to think he's bribing us to play his games, okay.
Just
Whatever.
play them and you'll let us
Yeah.
know. Yeah, you'll find
His
out
games
it's not
are
a bribe.
amazing.
They're just fun.
We love them. All right, so Manic Happy Hour is over.
Yes.
Let's get back to Wargames.
Let's go back to the games.
Thank you,
we
Noble Knight,
played.
by the way. Thank
Yes.
you.
A little bit more from them later. They do not sell axes and shields.
They do, not that I know of.
If they do, it's little figurines.
Yeah, miniatures.
But yes, more to go from them. So in August, we played a good few games.
Yeah.
And we're going to start with Lords of Heaven. So this is a prototype game. It's a prototype game, not a proto type game. So this is a Crusades.
Proto-culture? Does that proto-culture?
It kind of feels like it. So this is a 2 to 4 player game about the Crusades, whichever ones you want them to be.
I think I want to say it's the first and the second Crusades, but don't quote me on that.
It might be. So this is coming up from Phalanx. This is on crowdfunding right now.
Game found. I think as of the shooting of this video, it has about 6 days remaining.
Okay, so you might be able to get it. They'll have late backing though, probably. They typically have late pledge.
And you'll get this up in the next 3-4 days, maybe.
Yeah, I will try to rush this out. So we had Russ drove down. That was really nice. And our brother-in-law Brum came over. We played this 4-player. Had a good time with it.
It was very interesting.
We did a video on this. It's a prototype, so it's, the rules were a little bit rough around the edges.
But the game is great looking. I mean, great art, great components, and I don't know if you've been on the Game Found page, but everything's blinged out.
Which is what I would expect from them, and I'm glad that is the route that they went, because
looks really good.
The artwork they've invested in this is already good,
Yep.
and then they just bling it out.
And I thought it was very interesting. I had a good time playing it. I think we all learned a lot, and I would love to play it again with that same group.
Yes.
But it was a 3-hour game, right? It's a 2.5, I think, is what I think it says 2 hours on it, but
yeah,
it's a 2.5.
Your first game's definitely 2.5, 3.
Yeah.
I think it's shorter once you kind of have ironed out the rules.
And we're incredibly slow when we play.
I think it sits in a place, and the kinds of rules that it has, it's almost this hybrid style game. It's not really a war game in a traditional sense.
Yeah. There's definite conflict, and there's a lot of conflict.
Yes.
But it limits the conflict, which I think is also one of the really good parts of the design.
Yes, very...
You can't just go all out fighting everybody all day long.
And that cleverness mechanically is also thematic.
Mm-hmm. Because you're in a desert that had great expanses and lack of water.
They just didn't have
the
supply trains and stuff. It was really neat, but it was quite different from a lot of the stuff you might see on the channel as well. So go and have a look, that's for sure.
Yep. Well, what else did we play together?
Yes.
Here, I'll give you that one.
So this is Bonaparte's Eastern Empire from Form Square Games. There is a full review of this coming. I've got it scheduled.
I think it's in the next week and a half-ish, 2 weeks maybe.
That might get rearranged with some bits and pieces that are going on. But this is a 2-player game about Napoleon's conquest of Egypt. And this is Form Square Games' first outing as a company. And this is also Volume 1 in their Limits of Glory. It's Campaign 1, sorry.
Yeah.
So this was really interesting to kind of really see someone's first effort at a game. Mm-hmm. It had some really neat things going for it. Probably not going to be everyone's taste, but it had some neat things. And I want to see how the series develops. There's at least there's one that's out, and they've got more on the way using this system, because the system had some really cool bits to it, that's for sure.
So they just did the Game Found campaign, and it was Maida was campaign number 2, and campaign number 3 I think is Capri and something, but smaller campaigns. I very much enjoyed this system. I thought it was very interesting what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
It was one-sided, I thought, and maybe that was your dice luck was incredible.
I did have very good luck, but it is very much even if you take that aspect away and you had kind of average rolling, this is a game where the impetus is with the French player.
Yeah.
They have to go out and dictate what happens in the game. Mm-hmm. And if they get stunted, that also might suck.
Yeah, because the Mamluk and the
Ottomans
they're just not as high quality troops as would be expected, but their advantage is requiring Napoleon to have to go through a lot of very difficult spaces.
Yeah.
But when you were rolling 5s and 6s with almost every die roll, literally.
Yeah, I was rolling real hard that day.
Several times you rolled like straight 6s on 3 or 4 dice. It was incredible. The cool thing about this game that I really enjoyed, and you'll see it in the review, was every time you move from a space to another space, there's an activation cost.
Yeah.
That activation cost is printed on the board, and it's based on a couple of things, supply and terrain type and that kind of thing. You're going to be rolling anywhere from 1 to, I think, 3 dice, and you have to get a 5 or a 6 to be able to move. That actually is really, really challenging. You made it look easy.
Well,
And it was also funny, you waltzed with Napoleon,
just
literally all the way down to Alexandria and all the way down the Nile and then all the way back
in one turn.
in one turn, and then literally skipped, hopped, and jumped across the Mediterranean. And I remember thinking to myself, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Because the whole concept of that game is it's difficult to do that. And you literally made it look easy.
But you have to spend your glory to do that,
Yes.
which I had to do. But that's what I appreciate is, whilst it may not have been like the best game that I played this year, they really tried some different things.
Yeah.
The glory system is cool. They went
Very
for something, a different style of game that I've not
Yep.
seen a lot of. So I really appreciate that.
Yep.
And like I said, I want to see more of this to see
Yep.
if they can flesh it out, make it a bit more even, and see what they do with the game.
Yeah, agreed. I enjoyed it. I would
Yes.
play it again, and I'm looking forward to the other games in that system. I also played Arabian Struggle, which is
Yes.
the Kickstarter campaign was just canceled. I don't think they got enough orders in the first couple of days. They decided to
they wanted
cancel
to.
it. But it was a very interesting game. Conflict of Wills, the series, the first game was Judean Hammer. It is a card-driven game. Think irregular warfare. This is not ongoing battles. This is skirmishes.
Yeah.
And the game uses the cards, and it's more like raiding, and it was very interesting. The three Saudi factions who are fighting each other are also fighting against the Ottomans and the British. It's a very good game. I very much enjoyed it. I hope that they somehow bring it back. But I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed that.
I played an in-person game of Time of Crisis with Kevin and Brian. And now I'm just guessing, so I'm going to stop. It's very late. That's my excuse.
Yeah, don't take offense.
I play a lot of this on Rally the Troops.
Oh my gosh. The two games that we've been playing with Michael and Dave Roy.
You just won.
Oh my gosh. It's just like, you couldn't stop me.
Yeah, I got...
It's incredible.
I couldn't do anything in that one.
Yeah. My die rolling was amazing in that one, and I literally got every card that I needed to get. I tried a new strategy, and I'm not going to tell you about it.
Okay.
And I thought it worked out pretty well. I got to refine it.
Okay. Yeah, I just... my strategy was to get killed by the barbarians as much as possible.
And that's fun. Yep, it's fun.
But yeah, I played an in-person game with this. That was fun to teach
Never
new people.
disappointing.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait for that expansion to come
can that
up.
come out already? I'm ready for it.
I don't know why sometimes those things take so long, but
I'm also continuing in a game of Machiavelli.
Machiavelli.
So we're playing this play by email, basically, and we kind of submit turns once a week. I am in a very bad spot in this, very desperately hoping that my diplomatic overtures do not go unanswered.
Don't give in.
I might be out of this game.
And it's elimination.
In 2 turns. Oh, yeah.
Right?
This is from 95.
Has anyone been eliminated yet?
No. Someone dropped out, and then they got cleaned up. But I will be the first actual player to be eliminated, most likely. Although, I'll be honest, things don't look good for France either.
Oh.
So we'll see. But the Pope is going absolutely ham on me right now. And it's like, oh my gosh.
The Pope.
But it's really, really fun. I'm excited to kind of, once this plays out, I think we're going to start another one, I hope, because it's been really, really fun.
Is that a game that would be worth us playing at a big convention?
Yes, we've already talked about it.
Okay.
And so I think we're going to try and probably do it at Buckeye Game Fest next year.
Okay. I
Where,
need to at least try to do something.
because the
before
people
then.
who are playing, Ed's running it.
Yeah.
Russ is playing in it.
And they go to BGF.
Yeah, and there's enough of us where we could get it to go. And,
Okay.
that's really fun. I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah. Is that all that we played? I feel like we played more, but...
Well, you played some solo stuff.
Oh, Rogue Regiment, SAS. We played SAS on August 31st. Where is that game? Yeah, we brought
it's
it
right
over
here. Yeah.
We got to bring that one. Bring that out and
Sorry.
talk about it, because that game's
Okay,
awesome.
I'm gonna hold it just like this because there's a big
Yeah.
2-inch gap inside the box and everything will fall out. So this is SAS Rogue Regiment from Wordforge Games. This
Brand
is
new.
Yes, this is brand new off of Kickstarter. This is a brand new game from them. They did, they kind of redid another game, but this was kind of their first offering of like, this is theirs.
Well, D-Day Dice they bought, and we'll talk about
Spoiler
that in a minute.
alert.
Yeah.
So SAS Rogue Regiment, you play as, you know, an elite crack squad of SAS members. You're going to play anywhere
Operators,
from
they're called operators.
You're going to play anywhere from probably like 2 to 4. There are some solo scenarios in this. And you're going to play it cooperatively, and it is a sneaky.
That's the key.
The alarm goes off,
and then it's
run and
fight.
gun.
Yeah.
It's a really
Very pulpy,
neat game.
Very fun.
Yeah, but I know it's pulpy, but it's almost not. It does I think it toes the line really well.
Yeah.
So when I think of Reichbusters, pulpy as
Oh,
hell.
it's very pulpy.
Whereas this, like,
this is a little more serious.
yeah, you're pretty strong, but also it can go real bad real quick.
Sure.
Like it's the things that you're doing, creeping around, watching for the patrols to go past, jumping them from behind,
assassinating
dragging
them.
their bodies into the woods to bury them. Like,
yeah, it's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
the stuff you're doing in this is really fun. It's this tactical game, but you play it cooperatively. It's a really fun box. There's a lot in here. The Kickstarter had a bunch of expansions.
Well, and it's a
stuff,
beautiful game too.
They did a really good job.
It is a miniatures-based game without miniatures.
Yes.
And that's not done very often, but they did it very well.
Well, I think there's a couple companies who have done things like this where they were like, well, let's just scratch the miniatures to keep the price point
like
down.
Yep.
And I think that is a big kind of selling point where you're like, hey,
Well, that would be like a $150 game if you had all the miniatures, if not more.
yeah, and I don't know what the retail price is going to be like for just
Right.
the base game, but it won't be that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big appeal that they can kind of get those played.
The other thing that impressed me about that game, and we played 2 scenarios, and there were like 12 or 15 in the base one, and then
12 in the
another
base game.
10. I was very impressed as I was flipping through the scenario booklet. They're very different scenarios.
Oh yeah.
Different focuses, different goals, different objectives. You're going about all in the same manner. You're trying to sneak around, but sometimes you're like one time you're in a big Jeep, right?
Yeah, you're in
running
a
around.
massive map,
Yeah.
and you're driving around.
Yep. What's
yeah.
not to like about that?
I am, like you said, I am very impressed
Yeah.
with how they took the mechanics and think about how different the 2 scenarios are.
Oh,
that
they were
played.
vastly different.
Like it was almost a different game.
Yep.
And I really, really liked what they did with
Yeah.
that and how they've manipulated. It's not just go and do the same thing again and again. It was really different.
And the reality of it, it's cooperative, so we're working together, but it was a total good time. I had a great time. And we did it all day. We started like at 10 in the morning, and I think we finished at about 4 o'clock. And we played 2 big scenarios, and I had a great time. Yeah. I really honestly had a great time.
Just a really fun, almost beer and pretzels-y style game.
Yep.
Like anyone can learn it. It's not complicated.
A lot to look forward to. I also did quite a bit of solo gaming.
Yes.
If you don't know, these little War of 1812 Solitaire, Pacific War 1942 Solitaire from Worthington, look at these cute little boxes. They're little travel-size games. And they are States of Siege series-esque, kind of. But they're very light. They're very easy. It's a lot about die rolling, right? You're going to be chucking a die the whole time. But they're both fun. And they're unique and different enough that you really need both of them. And I think you're going to pay $30 for one of these. And I've played each of these about 15 times, not going to lie.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed them. But I played them a ton in August. I'm probably done with them for a while. But these are so cool that I could take these with me anywhere.
Yeah, it's
anywhere.
You slide that in your backpack or your suitcase and you can take it anywhere.
Yep. Also, don't you have the first edition of this
I do.
game?
It's on my shelf over there.
Guys, listen to me. This game is frickin' amazing. I have been playing this. I think I'm in turn 10 out of a 16-turn game. I'm having a total great time.
Is there anything in this box?
No, it's all set up at home. Sorry. I think I might have like a play aid in there.
I want to take a look.
And see what's different. I have bags.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, those are the control markers, the
Okay.
start markers. Isn't that funny?
Were these pre-rounded?
Yes, all
Okay.
pre-rounded.
Because I have the first edition and they weren't.
Okay.
And they were the thickest counters.
Okay.
And
Those are pretty thick.
It was really awkward to clip them, and I think mine are like they're like glossy and they
Okay.
like bulge. It was very strange, but I'm glad they kind of sorted that out.
But this is a great game. Like, I've played a lot of cool solitaire games. This is going to be one of those that's right up there. Part of it is the topic for me. This is the second Battle of Fallujah. How many games have we really played on the second Battle of Fallujah in the Iraq War? Not many, right?
Yeah.
But Phantom Fury 2nd Edition from Nuts Publishing, this is a very, very fine game.
Well, I think...
And I'm loving it.
This was a game that was out of print for a long time and
Yep.
people were charging $150 for. Because it's one of those solitaire games that is big,
Yep,
and
it
it
is
is
huge.
rich, and it is deep, and you will sit there and pore over.
Yeah.
And I think that's...
Look at the back of the
there
box.
is a lot of people who want this kind of a war game.
Yep.
They want it to be big and meaty and not
Yep.
just, chuck some dice or a narrative style
Well,
game. This is
yep.
a war game.
And I would say there's a lot of die rolling in this one. And it's all predicated on making sure you're in a position to get the right modifier, whether it's a positive modifier or a negative, depending on what you're doing. And it is very challenging to move from building to building and street to street. You're going to take sniper fire, defensive fire. It's very hard to keep your guys intact. But that's what I love about it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm relishing the opportunity to try to keep these Marines alive and to have them be effective and clean the city out.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. When I am done with it, you've got to play this.
Yeah, I will.
The one thing I would say is some of the rules about particularly the defensive fire, the sniper fire, and how you total up, it's a little confusing to me. Sometimes I think I'm dumb. But
Sure.
sometimes I have to think about it and read it again and look at it.
Okay, so is it because it's not clear, or is it because you might think you're overthinking it?
Sometimes I think I'm overthinking it, but also what I would say about this game is they use both positive and negative modifiers, and sometimes you want the positive ones, sometimes you want the negative ones, and that's confusing to me. That's one of those no-nos that we talk about.
That's naughty.
But they do it because of the way the game is. It's very unique and interesting. I don't know how to describe it very well. I'm still formulating my thoughts, but I'm telling you, this is a good game. I have been very much enjoying that. And I'm going to finish it this weekend and then set it right back up, and I'm going to do it again.
Yes.
I think that's all that we did in August.
So the old rally the troops spiel we got going on.
Yeah.
I'm in a number of games of Friedrich still. Really enjoying that.
Have you, the one that I'm in with you, have you seen my terrible... It's unreal.
Do you just have bad cards?
I can't draw the cards that I need, and every time I get into a combat, I don't care what happens, I lose.
Who are you playing as?
Sweden and
Russia.
Okay. Very hard.
Yeah, the problem is that you need to have good allies.
Well, and we're doing no talking because I don't think any of us really know.
Because the French and specifically the Austrians have a lot of capacity to put a lot of pressure to draw those forces away from Russia. So they have a little bit more time because they don't have many cards.
Yeah.
And they are a bit weaker.
It's just interesting, and I'm trying my best to understand it, but I can't get anything going.
Yes.
I can see why people like the game. I really can.
It makes me want to play Maria, because generally people say that one's better.
Okay.
But I don't
Maria's
really know.
3-player,
Yes.
I think. Well, maybe we should play that with Mike coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yes, you make a very valid point.
I have that game.
Let's
consider that.
I have been playing on Rally the Troops. They have Washington's War. I have jumped back into that and playing, I think, 3 or 4 games of this. I'm really, really enjoying it. We played this as a review of this game on the channel.
I love this game.
This is one of the original CDGs. Mm-hmm. It kind of is the original CDG, but
and it's not about battling.
No.
I mean, you got to pick and choose your spots, particularly as the Patriots. You're not going to do 15 battles. It's about control.
Yeah,
it's about running around and political control.
With a military victory, but that is very difficult
rare.
to do. And if you're concentrating on that, you will lose the political game.
Yeah.
So I'm
And that's
playing
where
it.
it's at.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm playing a bunch of these. It's just really nice. It's like revisiting an old friend.
I have yet to play it.
It's just so good. The rules aren't complicated
No.
in reality, and it's just fun to kind of
Very solid
play this
game.
again
Yep.
after we
Very
played
solid
it.
game.
Yeah, it's
Very
just
enjoyable.
just good.
That is actually on my list of my favorite American Revolutionary War games. That's number 2.
Yeah, that's definitely right up there.
Number 1 is Liberty or Death for me, but
I'm also I'm loving playing Wilderness War on there,
I
having
just
a
got
great time
crushed.
with that.
absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
French got embarrassed.
I'm about to get embarrassed as the British in that game. It's not going well.
That's my one complaint about that game. If you don't get the cards on either side that you need, it's very hard.
Yes.
Very, like the French. There are times where I don't get my regulars until turn 5, 6, 7. It's too late. It's too late.
Yeah, it can be over.
That's
by
my
this
only
point.
complaint about the game, but that's part of a CDG. You're just not gonna get the cards you need all the
Yeah,
time.
it's a 25-year-old game. They've come a long way.
But when your opponent continually gets his Highlanders, and you look at the
Those
stacks he's got,
American Continentals, you're
just
like, okay, dude.
unreal.
Those are, fun game.
Great game.
I'm playing Memoir 44. I've got an ongoing game with my brother on that.
There's Wilderness War.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I was looking for it.
One of my books.
Yeah, Memoir 44. So we've played the base game. I played the base game a bunch.
I love it.
So I was like, Nathan, we got to play the expansions because I've never played them. So we're currently playing a bunch of the East Front stuff.
Oh, cool.
And it is just like, here's all my tanks and cannons, and like here's the blitzkrieg rules, and it's a bloodbath. That's really fun. I've been enjoying doing that.
Are
too.
you also doing Baldur's Gate right now?
I am. Yes, I purchased Baldur's Gate 3 last month, and it's really good. It makes me want to pick up D&D again.
So are you playing just alone? Or are you playing with your brothers or friends?
No,
or...
I'm doing it just on my own.
Okay.
Because when it comes,
And you're doing it on your laptop?
no, it's on the PlayStation.
Oh, okay. I don't have PlayStation.
No, but I want you to get one. I don't know if did you play Baldur's Gate 2?
I did not.
Okay. It is lit. So Baldur's Gate. I don't know if I knew. I knew it was like it's the D&D game. It is literally D&D rules in a video game, and like when you're just like walking along, it will make perception rolls, and you're like, hey, you found this thing, and like something will
nice.
appear,
Or something will attack you. Or...
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You like it makes a roll, and you fail, and you're like, oh no.
I have watched some stuff like people playing it, and it looks incredible.
It is.
I would consider getting one. My wife might divorce me.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
How much are you playing it? And does Brum have it?
That is a good question.
We need to talk to him again. Maybe
because that would
let's
be
consider it.
something I could much more easily commit to. Because I don't have to. I can do it at home, and I don't have to leave my kids.
Yeah. All right, let's think about that.
Okay.
Wargaming?
Does Noble Knight have Baldur's Gate 3?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, so I think that's everything that we played, right?
We played a lot. I felt like August was a good... I also went to Gen Con with my son.
Yes.
We went for one day, had a blast.
There is a debrief of that coming soon. It's not quite out yet.
I had a great time. I appreciated going with my son, and it's good that I can connect with my 21-year-old son in that way, and it was nice.
Yeah,
we had a good time.
So looking forward to September. I'm excited for September. I think we've got some good stuff on the docket.
Yeah.
So first up, we are going to play D-Day Dice Do or Die, 2nd edition.
I love how you have to add in the tagline.
Which is funny because it's not on here.
Oh, it's not on
but it's in such big letters at the top, and that's what I'm reading.
Yeah, I know. It's not on the BGG page. It's not on any of the other materials. But I'd love it. Do or Die.
So this is from this is also from Wordforge Games. We got them off Kickstarter at the same time with SAS Rogue Regiment because they had an option to combine shipping. But I think some people got this a couple months ago because it shipped a bit earlier. So this is kind of a dice chucking Yahtzee Elder Sign style game. It's got a little bit more to it than Elder Sign, and it was really, really fun. It's just a fun, light, enjoyable game. It takes about half hour to play. You can play it solo. It's a really good solo game. You can play it co-op.
Really good co-op.
2-player.
I would only do 2-player. 4-player would just... There's no reason. Because you don't necessarily gain any advantage from additional troops or additional people in the same spaces. other than trading.
But it makes it 4 times more difficult.
Yeah, because you all have to survive.
Everyone has to make it to the end. So like,
I would just do it 2-player.
Yeah, but this was really enjoyable. We shot a review of this. This is coming out soon. If you haven't played D-Day Dice, I recommend it, especially because this is a game you play it with your family, you play it with your co-workers.
It's a light game.
Roll some dice. Hey, this is what you do. It's really not a complex game, but it was a little bit more thematic and not as maybe bland and repetitive as I thought it could have been, which is really good. Like, it really gave me a bit more than I thought that it was going to. So I'm excited.
And you said the non-repetitive part. There are a ton of missions and scenarios in it. All the boards are different, and they all involve D-Day, right? You're all on Omaha, Utah, Juneau Gold, or so. I mean, there's some that are inland. I think they were not necessarily on the beach, but so like D+1 or D+2.
But it's all moving up a board to get to a bunker and smash the bunker.
Yeah, it's area movement. It's very fun. I enjoyed it very, very much.
Really
had a great
fun
time.
game.
What else are we going to play in September?
So I think we plan to play Assault on Gallipoli, also 2nd edition. This is from Hexasim and Gecko Games. And Gecko Games is out of Australia. Hexasim's out of France.
Yeah, the designer Kieran Oakley did the first printing kind of under his own label, Gecko Games.
Yes, and then Hexasim picked it up, made a much smaller, more compact package.
Right, the other one
a bit
was huge.
unwieldy.
Yeah.
Which they got professional printers to do it. So I'm interested to play this as well. Always like a good Gallipoli game.
Well, we've played 3 or 4 Gallipoli games, and I've never not liked any of them.
Well, to me, it's one of those very sobering campaigns, but also fascinating campaigns.
Interesting.
I always have a good time playing Gallipoli games. There's just something about them.
You want to know my favorite part of Ottoman Sunset? Is the Gallipoli part.
I agree.
I love that part. And it's over by the 2nd or 3rd turn. I mean, it's...
Yeah, they run the Dardanelles Straits.
It's just
and
so fun.
That gauntlet is... It's
so
great.
fun. I always enjoy that.
Yeah.
But what else are we going to play? We talked a ton.
We did. So I am most of the way through a magazine game. I'm playing this Solitaire. I have it set up at work. And so this is The Road to Vicksburg, which is part of Strategy and Tactics magazine, number 103.
From when? 1970?
You know, that's a great question. Do they have a date on here? September, October 1985.
Wow.
So this came free inside my copy of Glory 3 that I bought secondhand. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to set it up and see what happens.
Yeah.
And it is 8 pages of rules, and it's really a simple little hex encounter war game, and it has provided a great little piece
narrative,
of fun.
Yeah.
You can probably buy this for like $10.
What is the battle again?
It's the prelude to Vicksburg. So it's Champion Hill.
Okay, yeah.
And it's not complicated, and I'm having a great time with it.
And you're playing that because you're reading Shelby Foote right now, and you're in the Vicksburg part?
Well,
is that kind of why?
I finished book 2, and so I've read all of that. That was in there. But it was also like, hey, I got these free little games.
Sure.
And it's something that I can just set up at work and kind of futz around with on my lunch breaks.
Yeah.
And just like,
Makes
it's
sense.
a way to get in gaming as well.
Yeah. That smells very old,
And
by the way.
and part of it was, it's really simple. So it was really easy for me to just kind of set up and start getting going.
Got it. Well, we have our friend Mike coming from St. Louis, if you want to grab your hood, strikes north. Because we're going to kind of do a game of Palooza.
Yes. So
and we won't get all this played, but we have talked about playing when I'm there, because I'm only going to be there on Friday evening because I have a work conference. Yes. I'm going to Pittsburgh, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But we have identified these 4 games as lighter style.
And we've just added Maria.
Well, that's not one. Most of these aren't going to happen. But 3 Sanchos from Surprise Stare Games, brand new, right off of. It's like a $20 game. I mean, El Cid.
I presume it doesn't take very long either.
No, like an hour. 1 to 3 players. This is one I got at Gen Con, Burn the Fort. So this is about indigenous resistance to the American expansion into the Southwest.
What a great production as well.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And this is from Indigenous Action Media?
Yes, so what I would say is the designer, his name is Clem, I believe. Klee. So he passed.
Oh.
So the game was kickstarted and he passed. I believe his family picked it up, finished it, and they were at Gen Con selling it. Very cool.
Yes.
And I had no idea this was at Gen Con, and I bought it the moment that I saw it.
Yeah.
I knew about the game.
Interesting.
But I thought it was not going to come to retail.
Right.
And I bought this immediately. It just looks fun and interesting.
Yeah, they did a good job of the production at least.
You are playing as the Indians, right? Trying to defeat the fort. And you're working together, but you're winning alone. So, kind of one of those. The best kind of
semi-co-op.
Semi-co-op. I also have People Power, which is a 3-player game, coin game. I'm still not sold on this one.
Yeah.
But I would love to play it with Mike, because it's about an hour and 90-minute game.
Yeah, it's short.
I would love to play it one more time, because we still need to do a video on it. The other one I have is Vijaya Nagar. Now, we love Vijaya Nagar.
Did we not do a video on this?
On which?
People Power?
No. We played it the one time. We both had a bad experience and complained about it.
At WBC.
And you played it at WBC, and we never shot a video on it. So
Okay.
that's what I was hoping. And then you guys on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, so
So when I leave, because I have to
Mike,
go.
thank you very much, Mike. He's the one who really sold me on great campaigns of the American Civil War.
GCACW.
Yeah, On to Richmond 2 came out last year, and I listened to the hype train. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's amazing! It's amazing! It's amazing!"
And I played that game with you. I can see a lot of amazing things, but that stupid activation die roll, don't get it.
It's a feature, not a bug.
It is a bug. It needs to be removed.
But I knew, we bought that, and then, but he loves that system. So he came over and we played it for 2 days, and he taught me the rules, and I was like, "Yep, I'm hooked. This is a problem now." And so he's coming over, and so we have an ongoing vassal game of Stonewall Jackson's Way that's been going on for about 9 months, and by that I mean we played it twice, and we haven't played for 9 months.
Yeah.
We're gonna finish that, I promise. And then we decided we're gonna do Hood Strikes North because it's
smaller, one
map. We can play it over the 2 days, and we'll finish the whole thing. And so it's one of those things where this isn't a new game, but because I think this is a 21, but it's one where I will have justified purchasing it.
Sure.
And this is one where the cube for me trays are perfect for it. The little 1.5-inch boxes, they take 2 of those trays, everything's organized, they fit really well in here. So
well, I also bought you at WBC a copy of Thunder on the Mississippi.
Yes, that's the new version. One. So we're gonna play that later in the year.
There's 4 big war games we want to play by the end of the year,
or by the end of our working year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one I want to play this with him, finish our Stonewall Jackson's Way, and then I'll be like, okay, I've got the rules in my mind, and we'll break out Vicksburg, Thunder on the Mississippi is Vicksburg, and then we'll kind of hammer that out because it looks awesome.
But that'll be a good weekend, and then I'm going to Pittsburgh at a work conference, and I'm going to meet up with our friend Cullen.
Yes.
Russ will not be involved because Russ, I think, is at a football game that day, University of Pittsburgh. But I'm going to show up. We're going to play. We're going to try to do a 4-player game of A Distant Plane.
Which is the best way to do Distant Plane.
And it's such a good game. Cullen said if he can't get his other 2 friends to commit, we'll just end up doing a 2-player game, and that's okay. That's the way you and I have played it.
And it was okay.
Right. But he wants to play it, and I would love to play it again. It's been a while.
For me, it was like an average game, and then when we played it 4-player,
oh, it's fantastic.
And I took it to a 10.
Yeah, I had a blast with it.
Please commit and play this with Grant.
Yeah.
Please do it.
Yeah, but anyway,
so good.
I actually really like A Distant Plane. We played it 3 times, I think, and I very much am looking forward to playing it again.
I think A Distant Plane really kind of shot up there into one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. The other game that I'm going to play, I, Napoleon from GMT Games. I still have not opened this. I've not read the rules, but this is a solo RPG style game where you follow Napoleon from his early days all the way through Waterloo, right? And very much looking forward to it. People rave about it. I'm also going to continue to play Phantom Fury this month. These are kind of my 2 solo games this month that I'm gonna try to take through. So I think for me, that's my September at this point. We'll see if we get half those played.
Yeah, but that's so I think that's everything last month and this month. I'm looking forward to a lot of the games we got going on.
We were going to do War and
Oh
Peace,
yeah,
too. Yeah, that was
for our Shelf of Shame Dust Off event. That I was like, that's another week.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
missing
yeah.
something, doy. Technically on the calendar we have War and Peace by Mark McLaughlin and One Small Step.
Huge Napoleonic game, right?
Yes, so we're gonna
Do a scenario.
do specifically the. I want to do the. Oh my gosh, my brain doesn't work anymore. The 1812 Russian campaign.
Oh, okay.
That's what I would like to do out of this because I think that's a part of Napoleonics we haven't done much of.
Right.
And it plays also into the topic of today's
Yeah.
game. So I'm curious about that, but this is a big beefy boy, so we'll see.
We definitely need to get
I've been
it played
threatening
this
to play
month.
this for a long time.
Yep.
But
On
yes,
our Shelf of Shame list.
if that's what we get, yeah, that's the one that's on the docket for this month. What did we do last month? Oh, Tarleton's Quarter. No.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Almost a Miracle. We
Almost
forgot
a
about that
Miracle.
one. I didn't bring that one. We played Almost a Miracle in
Yes.
August.
That was a whole.
Totally forgot. I actually
That was-
really enjoyed that game. I still am not sure we got the supply rules right.
Yeah.
I still am not sure.
And
That's my only complaint with the game. It just wasn't clear.
It's a magazine.
It's a magazine game.
You got to give a magazine game a little bit of grace on the clarity
and
of the rules.
It's a
Unfortunately,
beautiful magazine game.
Yes.
But it is a magazine game that has a lot of potential. I just felt like the supply rules weren't very clear.
What we were doing was cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
But the supply and the attrition was like, huh?
Yeah.
So, let me know on that. That's
But
for sure.
I would love to play that with someone who really understands it and have them teach me that.
Yeah, or if
Because I think there's a really great game there if we could just...
it's one of those
rock the
things
supply.
where you need the designer to tell you what the rules are.
Yeah.
Because gleaning them from the rule book was a little bit of a struggle, but it came to that attrition stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was like, this is either cripplingly difficult and everyone dies, or I'm misreading this, but I can only read it one way.
Didn't most of my troops die?
Yeah, it was
At that one
it was
time.
very interesting. But the game itself, what you were doing was very cool. And
The
like,
combat was unique and interesting, particularly
Yeah.
the fact that you could, like if you got surprise, you could fix bayonets and get benefits, although it was very risky.
But you fix the bayonets and then you try to surprise,
Yeah,
and you
it's
might or
just-
might not fail that.
and then you're stuck.
And then it could like really
Yeah.
hurt you. There was some really
I enjoyed
cool
it
decision
a lot.
points in that game.
Yeah.
That was a good fun game. I really liked
And
it.
it's another AmRev game that I've added to my list of games that have been played. And now I have Tarleton's Quarter, which is the Southern Theater in the same system. I really want to play that maybe next year.
We got to read the supply rules. in there
And
to see
you
if
asked
they-
me to do that, and I didn't get around
No,
to doing
that's
that.
yeah.
But
I think that's
That's it.
Now
Thank you
that's
for-
everything.
thank you for remembering that.
I knew.
how the
yeah.
hell did I forget that?
I don't. Yeah.
Anyway,
Good fun game. That was enjoyable.
we
I
shot a
liked it
video
too.
on that one.
That was just a different kind of game.
It
we
was.
don't. But the reality is we don't play a lot of magazine games here.
No, we don't.
And so getting to some of those
Was-
smaller
was
ones
different.
that often give you something different was enjoyable. It was
And we've played some good magazine games.
we've played some bad ones too.
Yeah, and I think this one is good. It just needs some more clarity.
Yeah, which is
But-
a vintage magazine game.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
Yeah.
That's everything. Thank you for remembering that.
yes.
I feel ashamed.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? So let's us have a quick, much more official word from our sponsor, Noble Knight Games. So very grateful for Noble Knight Games' support. They provide a wonderful service in the hobby. We spend an awful lot of money with it.
Well, and I think every person that watches this channel, and I would argue, Dane, every wargamer out there has bought something from Noble Knight Games.
At worst, and if you haven't, because sometimes their prices are a little bit higher than you might
Right.
want to,
But they've got
do
it.
a trade.
Yeah, right.
Send in your stack of
That
stuff
you're not gonna
that
play.
you told your spouse you were going to sell, and then they just collected
Yep.
dust and you were too lazy to sell it on eBay. Just contact them with a spreadsheet. They will send you a a FedEx label, you put it in a box, tape it up, send it
You
to
get
them.
a bunch of credit.
They give you the credit. Now you can afford that game that you were balking at the price at.
And that is the great circle of life with Wargamers.
And then I will go on there and buy your Wargames.
And the reality is, you can go and make like a wish list, and you can say, ooh, I really am interested in this one, and this, and this, and this, and this. They happen to be out, but when some idiot cleans out their house or brings up a truckload of games, like we did last September,
Yep.
all of a sudden they upload those, and you'll get a reminder, oh, that game is now in. And you've got to beat people to buy it, or it's not going to be around.
And those emails are auto-sent as soon as the games are scanned into their system.
Immediate.
And they have people who will literally have the reams of games, and they will say, this game is now in the system at this quality. And as soon as they hit enter, that email gets generated and sent out. So as soon as you get it, you can hammer that red button, and it will be yours.
And we traded in, I think we've said, almost 200 games a year ago. And we have easily, from them, since that time, got at least that many games back, is my guess.
Oh, no. We haven't, no.
Yeah, you're maybe
Would you mean
maybe
from
half.
them?
Like we've bought from them. Like with our credit, we've bought from
We've
them.
bought a lot.
Yeah, we have.
Not that.
I don't think 200.
No,
But
no.
if you saw this room,
But how many of these are new games?
some of them are new games, you're right. And they do have new games.
Yeah.
We get a couple of new games from them. We get more old games from them. Anyway, check out Noble Knight.
Yeah, go
We've said
spend
enough.
your paychecks on that. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So
Your life saving. Don't bankrupt yourself. Very easy to
yes,
do.
please do not do that. So the topic for today's debrief, finally, now we're here, is what is the name of the topic?
Well, I think it is wargaming in literature and books, right? It's because you started this out.
Yes.
You read some books that were more literature focused. Wouldn't you agree with that?
It was a
What I
mix.
mean by that is like War and Peace and
Yeah.
These-
So it started with.
I'm trying to remember what your first one was.
You know, now I've said that.
We're gonna have to come up with a better name that you're gonna have to put on. But it's
We're talking about books and wargaming.
the pairing of the two, right? We as wargamers, there's two different ways you could look at this. A lot of times we'll read a book and we'll be like, ooh, that was awesome. I want to play a game on that.
Yes.
You know, maybe I played or read a book about Castro's insurgency. And then I go out and I look, oh, Cuba Libre. I want to buy that and play that.
I'll have to look up what the first one was now.
Yeah, I can't remember. The second thing is that you play a game and then you say to yourself, wow, that was interesting. I want to learn more about that. I want to dive deeper into that subject and understand how it fits in the world history of things. You're still looking?
Yes, I am. I wonder if it was, because was it my D-Day one? There was a few. Oh, it might have been with the old breed. No. I don't know. Well,
You have
whatever it
like
is.
12 of those.
Yeah, so basically, just over a year ago, I was starting to read some kind of non-fiction, which is not something that I had really done a lot of. That's the reality. I'm like a little bit here and there, and so I was reading stuff that was correlating to war games that we played, and I was like, well, let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. And so I started a series, and I think it was Russ Wetley came up with the name From Cover to Cover. Which
Oh,
I
did he? Okay.
Really liked.
That's a great name, yeah.
Because I was trying to come up with something cutesy, and he was like, "Oh, this." I was like, "It's brilliant."
Do you remember what your thoughts were? No.
It would have been very stupid, but it was great. So great name. Thanks for that. But basically, it was I've read a book, and then we talk about the book and what the book was like, and then we talk about games that that corresponded to the contents of the book. So you could either read the book and then find the games, or if you played the games, hey, here's
Find
a
the
book,
book, yeah.
more about that. And I think that intersection and that interplay between the two different types of media is really, really cool. I think that's something I'm starting to love about the hobby.
Well, I think it's very interesting how it's the merging of two different sources of historical information. The reality of war games is those designers put a ton of time into checking those OOBs and looking at the historical setups, and you learn just as much from a war game as you're going to learn from reading a 500 or 600 page book.
And how many of the war games have a bibliography?
A lot of them.
Almost all of the good
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
But I also really like the difference between the two media types, right?
Yes.
When I play the war game, I can do lots of what if stuff, or what I'm doing is I'm putting myself maybe in a command structure, and it's this simulation of what the command was like, or it might be like a tactical thing, and so it's more of an experiential thing of like, hey, this is what the boots on the ground experienced.
Yeah.
Or it might be a grand strategic thing where it's like, look at all these political concerns and these
The outside
economic
forces
things
pushing on it, yeah.
So you get to experience and play with those things, whereas a book will offer you, they can offer you pictures and maps, but they will offer you like, hey, here's an insert from someone's personal journal. You often don't get that in the war game setting. Or they might have descriptions of things that you don't get from Hexes and Counters. You just don't.
Yeah.
And so the overlap, they complement each other because they're very different.
Yeah. And I think they're almost a match made in heaven.
Without question.
I really believe that you can strengthen and deepen your understanding of both
Yes.
by reading a book, playing a game, or playing a game, then reading that book.
They are 100% complementary in that way.
Yeah, and I would say this, I have read in my life a lot. The last 5, 6, 7 years, not as much, because
Probably because we've been doing this.
we've been doing this, right? Writing on the blog, doing videos, playing games. I used to read a lot. You've seen my book collection. But I appreciate that you did this. And I remember when you did it, the from cover to, I thought, is that really going to do well on the channel?
Yes.
And most of them have done very well.
And I'm going to be honest, I started it as a vanity project.
No, I totally get it.
Because
Whether it got 300 views or 3,000, you
Yeah.
were going to do them.
I couldn't have cared less how many
Yep.
views they got.
I get
Because
it.
I wanted to have an outlet to talk about books that I was reading.
Yes.
And so I only put ones on the channel that are like at least tangentially meaningful to wargaming.
Yeah.
And so
And actually, I think you've done a good job of choosing topics and books and then relating those, searching for games that at least have some bearing on that historical.
Yeah.
I've watched almost all those, and it's interesting.
And some of them are more traditional type,
Yep.
history books or very popular ones, and some of them they might be things that's like, oh, this is really obscure, and maybe if one person goes out and reads that because of something that I said, I think that's great, and that's enough for me, honestly.
But I would say I've watched you do it over the past 18 months, and I finally said to myself, you know what, Grant, you used to enjoy this. Now, rather than laying in my bed from
We have a poltergeist.
yeah, rather laying in my bed from 9 to 10:30, and then laying there for another hour because I can't sleep, I've just started reading a book at those times with my wife there. We're both doing it or doing something. She's doing something else, and I finished 3 books in the past 6 weeks. Right?
That's terrifyingly fast.
Well, and
I'm a very slow reader.
They're only 300 to 350 page books. These are not 600 page books.
That's better.
And you'll see now. Some of the ones I had that I used to read, 1,000 pages.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're big chunkers. They take
I've
forever.
tried to focus on the ones that are more like 300 to 400 because I want to read them,
Yeah.
then do a video and talk about a game, and then get into another one because I want to experience a couple different things.
Agreed.
But I've caught the bug. I've enjoyed it very much. I have like 9 books laid out, ready to go. And I've enjoyed doing it. So thank you for reawakening in me that desire to read, because I think I had lost that because of our war games and other things.
Well, yeah, we are very busy, right?
You've only got so many hours in a day to do a hobby, and it's competing, right?
And I think that's also something, because you guys don't need to know this. My reading proclivities are like classical literature. That's what I typically like to read. But some of it was like, historical fiction, or it was like, hey, people talk about all these like classic, memoirs or things like that. I got to do some of that. And it was a way to bring 2 of these hobbies that I have together, which again allowed me to like get even more out of both of these things
Yeah.
that I love, which was really awesome. And I'm glad when you made that first one, circling back to what we talked about at the very beginning of the video, I was so proud because I'm like, I know that was not easy for you to sit in front of the camera on your own.
Yeah.
Because it's awkward, right?
Yeah. And you'll notice when I do my solitaire, I don't sit in front of the camera.
Right.
I'm looking at because that's what's comfortable for me. But how do you do a book? I had to sit in front of the camera.
You kind of got to do it. And I'm so proud of you for doing that. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I set it up. I hope it was interesting. It's 45 minutes long. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little wordy. Did you know that? I'm a little bit wordy. Do you know that? My wife tells me that all the time. But it came out naturally, like my remembrances of the book as I was reading it, how that associated into the game, and then the general knowledge I have of history. It was fun. I had a blast.
Yeah, and you get one a month-ish.
Yeah.
I tried to space them out because I know not everyone's super interested in that, but like, I like that it just gives something that's a little bit different from reviews or interviews and things like that.
On our channel, we have about 15 videos a month.
Yeah.
We do one about every other day. That's pretty consistent.
Yes.
So you're right. With 15 videos, 7 of them are going to be reviews and 7 of them are going to be unboxings.
Yeah.
Then you've only got one.
And then a debrief.
Yeah.
Like, well, we'll squeeze one of these in one of those slots.
But I actually have enjoyed seeing them. Some of them have done very well. There's one, the Aras one. I'm trying to remember what the name. That for like 600 views. That one has been bad.
Wait, which one was that?
I can't remember the name of But one of yours, it has like 600 views.
Sure.
And it's just.
I wonder if that was the
something about Aras, Arras. I can't remember the name of the book, but
yeah.
We're wasting time talking about that.
I should.
Yeah, but it's interesting because most of them, as I've said,
no, this I did it.
You did it, and not too long ago, maybe 7 months ago. But it'll be fun to see where we go.
Oh, Flight to Arras.
There you go, Flight to Arras.
I'm not surprised by that at all. That's an extremely niche book. That was very hard to get a hold of.
And that's why I remember when I watched that one, I was like, well, most people are not going to connect with this. But some of the other ones you did, most people will connect with.
No, but I promise you, if you read that book, it's incredible.
Yeah, there you go. And
it's a very, very different.
Yeah.
I've never read anything quite like it.
Got it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So what we wanted to do today is kind of showcase some of this stuff. Maybe I've got a few things that I'm looking forward to doing that haven't quite made it, or some things that I have. And just as an excuse, if you haven't watched any of these videos, this is the kind of things that we're talking about.
Yep.
Also, I will give a shout out to our Slack channel. So our patrons, through Patreon, you get access to a Slack
You can join
channel.
that if you want to be involved in those discussions.
Yes. Typically, you can suggest topics for the debriefs as well.
This month we didn't
Not
ask.
this month.
Sorry.
Because we want to do this.
Yeah.
But also there is a pretty loose book club, and every kind of probably 3 months-ish.
What's the book now?
So the book now we're going to do is we're going to read Master and Commander.
Oh, yeah.
So again, it's quite different.
Do you have a copy of that one?
I do, yeah. It's actually behind some Wargames.
Okay.
But that one is...
Maybe I'll find a copy.
It's something that's less serious, and it is a piece of historical fiction. I was like, should we do a sharp one? But people were like, oh, Master and Commander. Okay.
Yeah.
The film's great, let's do it.
Well, we saw that ship. Remember in San Diego
Yes,
Harbor?
we did. Yes.
That was awesome. The name of the ship.
Is it HMS Surprise?
Yeah, the Surprise, yeah.
But
they were looking for the Acheron.
We'd voted on that like 6 months ago, and it's just been a really slow summer for me, and I want to finish up what I'm doing.
Sure.
And then we'll do it. But so we have like a loose book club. We've read a couple for that book club, and so I wanted to kind of talk very briefly about some of those, because I've got 3 of them. So we read Julius Caesar's Gallic War earlier in the year. And this
is literally like a memoir.
He wrote Gallic War.
Wow.
And this is the Landmark edition, which I highly recommend because it has all of the academic footnotes.
Oh, yeah, and maps.
It's got archaeological pictures of things, so that when they talk about, hey, this is the special trumpet that
they would blow.
There's a picture of what that looked like and carvings of it. This also includes African War, the Civil War and stuff, but just the first, like,
This is
300
like
odd pages.
700 pages. This is a big one.
Well, that's because it includes Civil War, Alexandrian War, African War.
But
and
you
Spanish
just
War.
did Gallic War.
We just did the Gallic War,
Gallic War,
and,
okay.
it was really cool, had its own unique stuff. So that's not made it to the channel quite yet.
Didn't you just shoot that one, like, recently?
Yes, I did.
It's just not made it.
No, it hasn't made it. So that'll end up being probably an October or November type thing. But what a video might look like is I'm going to talk about what this looks like, and then we talk about games, and so we think about Great Battles of Julius Caesar. You will play a number of battles from Caesar's Gallic War, and there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from the Gallic Wars.
So you're going to read about those.
Every single one of those
play.
is in here and described in detail.
And this is by Berg and
Herman. This is part of the Great Battles of History series. I use the simple Great Battles of History rules because I'm a coward. But you will read.
We played
this.
SPQR with the simple, and I very much enjoyed it.
It's great.
Yeah.
You'll see the maps, and then you will line up the pieces, and you will play and do them, and try to do better, or see what you can mess around with. And it's awesome. I really love this. And
so Gallic War. This is the part that you read. So this is like halfway through the book.
yeah, so this is the beginning of.
So it's like 100 pages,
yes, but it's
maybe.
So
you read all that? Okay.
all of this.
Okay. This looks more like a textbook.
It kind
Interestingly
of, it kind of
enough.
is. It kind of is.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of Gallic War right here.
Okay,
So it was
got
all
it.
of that.
So it was like 300 pages.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
But yes, it kind of is a textbook.
Yeah.
So I had a blast with this.
Well, and you also did Falling Sky,
Falling Sky.
which is Coin Series.
See-
You don't like that Coin Series game that much.
No. But this made me understand it more,
Okay.
at least.
Well, maybe
because
we
in
can
here
play
they
that
talk
one
about
again.
Vercingetorix,
Yeah.
who was one of the leaders. He's a
Vercingetorix,
piece
yep.
in that game. And you're like, you read about him, and you read about his
Ambiorix.
family, and all of the things they did, and you're like, oh, it puts into context at this pretty abstract coin level game
Yeah.
the stuff that went on and why he was important. And so I did really appreciate that part of it as well.
Yeah. Nice. There you go.
So that's the kinds of things you will see. You will see that as a video that's going to come later on in the year as well. So the other ones that we did as part of kind of the book club, we did Ernst Junger's Storm of Steel. There's a very famous World War I German memoir. Really intense. It's a very, very intense memoir. He's a good old-fashioned Prussian, and so he's got a lot of that classism, a lot of that bravado, bloodthirstiness, and a lot of that kind of old soldierly honor type things.
That's an awesome cover, by the way.
Yeah, so this
it's
is
just
the
incredible.
Penguin Deluxe Edition. They have great covers, and they usually have good notes and forwards in
Yeah.
them as well.
I love it when they do the covers like this because you can use them as the bookmarks.
Yes.
I love that.
So this was really cool.
Yeah.
I'd never read anything that was quite like that before. Big video. Yeah.
You take notes?
Yes.
Okay, I don't do that yet. Maybe I need to do that.
So
I try to remember it, but I think I forget things.
I only do this for our videos. I don't.
Well, you haven't done a video on this one. I don't believe you did a video on this one.
I haven't.
No, pretty sure you didn't.
Okay, if I haven't, then I will correct that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you didn't.
We read this for the book club. Are you sure I didn't?
I
If I didn't, it's incredible. No, I definitely did because I remember tabbing through
Maybe
this.
that was one I didn't watch. I lied and said I watched
Because
every one of those.
because some of it is so intense.
Yeah,
I
you read
literally
it.
put
Okay.
tabs in this and underlined it because I'm like, I want to read that out.
Got it.
Because this is that's the kind of stuff that draws you into this book.
Yeah.
Because it's really I like the first hand accounts. I really
Got
do.
it.
I like that.
And we
kind of
actually talked about that. My makeup and what I enjoy about history is more the nitty gritty of the tactical,
thing. Yes.
the strategic elements, the discussion of the supply and the movements and the OOB. And you really enjoy the narrative side
I think so.
and even the conversational side where they'll use memoirs and they'll turn it into a part of the book. I enjoy that too, but it's harder for me to read that than it is to read straight, dry.
I fully understand.
Yeah,
that. I fully
it's
understand.
interesting.
And I think that's also one of the great things about books is you can find
very
a
different.
topic and you can find the type of book about that topic that you want as well. I think that's also something that's really great. But I bring up Paths of Glory because this is like the ultimate granddaddy World War One game. You can get into some really nitty gritty World War One battles where you're getting into the trench warfare of stuff, which is very much highlighted.
This is not
in
the
Stores
deluxe
of Steel.
edition, is it? I have the deluxe. Is this the deluxe
No,
edition?
no, no. I have
Okay.
the. I have the.
I have the deluxe.
I think I might have the deluxe map, but everything else in here is the is the older edition.
Got it. That's a great game.
It's really good.
I wanna play it
You
again.
get World War One Europe in a box, basically. I've also played Pursuit of Glory, which is also World War One, but it's kind of the Middle East.
And a different game, really. Same mechanics, but
They have a lot of extra stuff scaffolded onto
Yeah,
it. It's really neat, but it's very different. And none of Pursuit of Glory is what's in Ernst Junger's memoir. But this was really, really, really good. I promise at some point we will get back to this and do a full big boy game of it.
we will one day.
Because we did kind of the short learning scenario.
We
and It was
did,
awesome.
and had a blast.
And it was very helpful
Yeah,
to parlay that into other games.
I remember
but,
we played it all evening, like till 1 or 2 in the morning, and
Yeah.
didn't even get anywhere near to done. But
Paths of Glory is so good.
Had a good
this
time
is
with
if
it.
you want World War One in a box and you've got the time and an opponent to commit to this. This one and Lamps Are Going Out.
Lamps Are Going Out are so
Lamps
amazing.
Are Going Out, second edition. Oh, so good.
Now that you say that, I'm pretty sure you did that
I think I did too.
video. Yeah, I'm smoking something.
What you got? Because you got some books.
Well, I wanted to do a couple that I want to do, and then maybe some that I've already done.
Yeah.
So I was talking to you about this earlier. So this is a book that I bought probably 10 years ago. You know how you go to like a Borders and they have like a bunch of books that are, these are $7.
I know exactly what you mean.
And I would buy dozens of
Does
them.
Borders even exist anymore?
Probably not. Barnes and Nobles, Borders,
I think
Books
Borders
A
is
Million
gone.
is
Books
another
A Million
one.
exists.
But I think that's why I bought this, because I thought, that would be a very interesting. This book is The Plot to Kill Hitler. So this is literally Operation Valkyrie and the bombing of Hitler and the hunting of, Stauffenberg and all his insider.
and the aftermath.
Yeah, but it's something that I've always been interested in, and I've watched documentaries on, but I bought this book and I just never read it. So this is on... No. Almost like we bought games and never played them.
Don't look at my bookshelves either.
Yeah, right. But this is on my list. I think this is the 4th book on my list, so I'm still working through a couple of theirs, but I'm going to get to it. And we bought Black Orchestra a couple of years ago. I think we bought it because it's awesome, supposedly. We don't know because we haven't played it. But we bought it because we wanted to try it with the wives.
Yes.
Because we were into a thing where we started playing some games with them.
Yes.
We bought it. They kind of poo-pooed us, and we've never gotten back to
It just never.
This never happened.
But now we have an excuse.
Well, yeah. When I read this book, we've got to demand that they play with us,
And I think-
and that they read this book, and that we discuss it while we're playing Black Orchestra. But that's an example. I'm very excited to read this, and I'm very excited to play this game. So, and I'm going to do these. I'm going to focus on one game, and it's because I'm going to have some trouble talking about three or four different games. So when I've done mine, they've been literally about 1 or 2 games, mostly one. And that's kind of what I'm going to plan to do. I'm not going to do a ton of them, but I'm going to do 5 or 6.
But I think this is a great example of you read the book and it pushes you to play the game.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Whereas I've done the opposite.
Yeah.
As well, where I played a game, I'm like, oh, I want to go to a book, but this is a great example of that. We're like, oh, I'm excited, and this book is going to inspire me to really get this to the table.
It's also interesting that we know that we're not supposed to judge books by the covers, but I remember when I bought this one.
That's only said by people with crappy covers for their books.
I remember when I bought this one, I thought, that's a great picture, and I loved the orange, because I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
Yes. No, I fully agree with you. One of the other ones that we did kind of early on in the book club was With the Old Breed in Peleliu and Okinawa by E.B. Sledge. And With the Old Breed is one of those almost like catchphrases at this point.
Yeah.
That's made famous by this memoir. But like With the Old Breed was the name of
Fields of Fire.
Fields of Fire Volume 2. And I'm sure there's other games that have used that title as well. And then I'd also watched The Pacific, which is half of it is about E.B. Sledge and is directly taken from his memoir.
Yep.
So it's like I already knew the story, but I wanted to actually read the book. And it is extremely good. It's extremely emotional, it's harrowing, it's very real. But this is the edition from Library of America that also has 2 additional memoirs after it from different people, which at some point I'll get to. I really like the Library of America.
Okay.
They're really well priced.
There you go.
You get a lot of stuff in it. Yeah, and that is also a scene from The Pacific that you'll recognize. So.
Oh yeah.
But it's like the of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just the way
just horrible, horrific.
There's just a different. It just hits different when you're reading the stuff.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So yeah, I really like this publishing house. You get a nice hardback edition.
Well, and you get
the paper quality is good.
You have another one here that's like the same, right?
Yes. So
Longest Day, Bridge Too Far.
I recently picked up those.
Okay.
Because hey, those are the names that you know.
Sure.
Cool. Let's get into this. So I have kicking around. Again, at a very large scale, we've got Empire of the Sun, which we talked about when I did With the Old Breed. This is a grand Pacific war game. This is the Pacific War in a box. You might see a theme in some of the games I'm talking about today.
So I have a book on Pearl Harbor that's on my list to read, but it's way down.
Yes.
It's called We Slept at Dawn.
Okay, I've not heard of that one.
And it's literally about the Pearl Harbor process.
Just the attacks.
Yeah, it's like focused on... I think it goes into the first couple months of the war, but it's one that I want to read, and that was a game that I thought would be a good...
Yeah.
But if you do it, I'll pick another game.
Oh,
There's
no.
plenty of other Pacific games.
But like, the Pearl Harbor is one card in this.
Well, yeah,
which
you're right.
It's a very different vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, Empire of the Sun is like the granddaddy of CDGs. This is like the big bad boy of all CDGs. It's very complex.
I love this game. I'm terrible at this game. We have played this probably 3-4 times, and I still am unsure if I really truly know what I'm doing.
I'm gonna be honest. If this ever makes it onto Rally the Troops,
oh my gosh,
I'm gonna have to retire.
Yeah, I would play that all day long.
It would be the most played game.
Yeah.
Because
the zones of control,
automated and like you can and can't react and where
the ranges. Yeah,
it takes out a lot of the counting and the bookkeeping, which is what slows down a play of this, because this is not a short game.
No.
But I love Empire of the Sun. It's incredible. And it just goes over a really high level of... And this is like the micro experience. That's the macro experience.
Yeah.
And the discussions we had in our book club about this were
those
really,
are
really
nice looking
insightful.
books. I like how they're the similar size too. I'm also a little bit of a hardback snob, although I have a lot of paperback books. I prefer a hardback, but that's me.
I really, really like this company. So speaking of which, so this is Longest Day and A Bridge Too Far, which are 2 European theatre war games. Obviously, we've got D-Day and Market Garden going on. I didn't pick up any games for this one, but this is something that in the future you might see on the channel, because Cornelius Ryan made these classic books, and it's like, let's do it. I've not read any either of these.
So I have a book called All American All the Way, and it's about the 82nd, and that was one I thought I would love to down the road.
And we've got a ton of games that cover
I've got
82nd
so
actions.
many. Yeah, I've got
Like
so
a
many.
lot of those.
I already did a video on this one, so I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but I very much love this book, and this was actually the first one that I read when I got back into this. This is called War Along the Wabash, and it deals specifically with Arthur St. Clair's defeat at the Wabash River in 1794. The second real large loss of the new American army, but the worst by far. And this was riveting. I loved this. I couldn't put it down. I read this in about a week and a half.
You might say you read it from cover to cover.
I read it and it is small writing. and there's a lot of footnotes.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
But I love the style of this one, and the games that I paired with it in the video were Kekionga by High Flying Dice Games and St. Clair's Folly. And I had a blast doing this. That was my first one. It's 45 minutes. I think it's on the channel in about a week.
I think you'll see it this
week and
this
a half.
Month, yep.
The other game that I mentioned in the video was Blood on the Ohio from Compass Games. This is by John Paniski. We have never played this. I have clipped it, and it's on my shelf of shame. So one day
that'll get on that list.
But it is literally Washington's Indian War, 1789 to 94. So anyway, that's a great book. And that company, Casemate Publishers, they have a lot of great books.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Huh?
Those are just like the end, and I'm like, I want every single one of those. But I gotta pace myself, right?
Yes.
I've got some that I've got to read. I already own them. I'm gonna read those first, because I'm not gonna fall in that trap of ordering 15 books and then reading 3.
Yes,
it's gonna happen.
We've all done it.
We've all done it. One other that I would talk about, and then we can go back to you. I played this game 2 years ago when it came out. Landsreth Ridge. This is the Battle of the Bulge, and it focuses literally on one little small part.
Where it's
in
like
Belgium.
10 guys.
Yeah, 22 guys in Belgium, and this INR platoon holds off kind of the initial thrust, Piper Panzer Group, about 350 Panzer Grenadier Fallschirmjägers. They held them off for about 18 hours and ultimately gave the rest of the Allied wing the opportunity to regain themselves, reform up, and stunt and defeat the Germans in the Battle of the Bulge. They were captured. They went through being in prisoner camps and being strafed by Allied planes because the Germans didn't draw the right symbols on top of the train cars and all of those things. But the book that I read with it, and this came directly recommended from the designer, David Thompson. The book is called The Longest Winter by Alex Kershaw. I love this book. It was in the narrative style.
Right.
So it used a lot of their first-person accounts and memoirs to tell the story, and it was fascinating. I couldn't put it down.
And that looks like it's a short one too.
300, 286, 285.
And I find those, the ones where it's their memoirs and quite
some-
conversational.
Yeah, I got some candy on the book there. I was low.
I feel like those ones go much quicker though.
No doubt.
Because you're running through a conversation almost.
Yep. But I very much enjoyed this, and it was a book that was like in 4 different parts. It was like their training, and then their deployment to Europe, and then their attack at the Battle of the Bulge, and then them dealing with being captured. I had a blast. It was fascinating. So definitely would recommend The Longest Winter, and I had a blast reading it.
So one that I did, did this make it onto the channel? I don't think so.
Let me see it.
The People Immortal?
I don't think so.
I can't remember if I did or not. So The People Immortal was a really interesting book. This is a piece of Soviet propaganda. So Vasily Grossman, if you don't know, his most famous 2 books, one of them is called Stalingrad, and it is an account of Stalingrad. Mm-hmm. And it won like $1 trillion Soviet awards for being not necessarily a piece of propaganda, but for
being so triumphant and
like regaling how awful it was and how they triumphed out of the.
By the way, have you seen that movie on Netflix called, I think it's called T-34? Have you ever seen that?
I watched the trailer for it.
It is the cheesiest, goofiest thing, but I'm telling you, I loved it.
That is a piece of Russia propaganda.
Absolutely loved it. I enjoyed the heck out of that movie. You need to watch that.
Sure.
It's cheesy. Get some crackers out, because you're going to be eating some cheese with it. But it's pretty good. If you guys know what I'm talking about, I think it's called T-34.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And it is total Soviet propaganda.
But that's how kind of my journey with Vasily Grossman started. Is he wrote a book called Life and Fate, and Life and Fate is about this thick, and it was banned in the Soviet Union. So you know it's good. But Life and Fate is a sequel to Stalingrad. So I had to read Stalingrad, but Stalingrad's also this big.
Okay.
And so I just bought this on a whim, because it's also by him. and like a huge chunk of it is like footnotes and afterwards and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it's really
Just
like
that.
250 pages.
Okay.
And
Is this your emboss?
Yeah, I have an emboss
awesome.
for those.
Look how fancy you are.
I know.
A-K...
G.
Oh, okay. Alexander
so
G.
it's
Klein.
AGK.
Yeah.
But so I
Look at you.
I read
Fancy
this,
schmancy.
and it's basically it's like a snapshot of a Russian division who are like they're part of that initial kind of retreat during Barbarossa, and so you get a lot of the awful brutality of the Germans, which they were, but also like it's hammed up quite a lot, and like they get encircled, and then it's about them breaking out and linking up with an extracting force who are trying to relieve them, and it's it culminates with them like running together and like hugging it together, like it's
Well,
very
I love the cover. I mean, that's
it's,
amazing.
It's in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So if you can cut through the propaganda because you have a brain, there are some parts of this that are really, really good.
What's that say? Taschen Dolmetscher?
Taschen Dolmetscher.
That's
Taschen
German.
means bag.
Okay.
Dolmetscher für Frontsoldaten. I don't know what that means. Is Dolmetscher.
Okay. Sorry.
It might be about. But there are some parts of it, especially some of the action parts, are like it's just really good action and it's really well written.
Yeah.
And then there's some parts where he like focuses on like it's the vacancy of the old grandma's home whose family have lived there in that house in the homestead for 200 years, and it's just like so a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
But it was a really interesting read, that's for sure. But
I'm not sure that's made it on the channel, but maybe
I can't remember if it did or not, because it was like
Yeah.
there's a lot to consider and unpack in that book. But I think about something like The Dark Valley, which is East Front in a box. The Dark Valley is a big two-mapper by Ted Racer. This is a chip pull game. I played this Solitaire over the course of like a few weeks.
During COVID.
During COVID. And it was an incredible experience. Very difficult for the Germans to win this one. But the victory conditions are such that it forces the Germans to go like all out, which is what they needed to have done for it to have been successful, effectively.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to because of supply, because of weather conditions, but it puts you under effectively the same constraints where you have to go as hard as you possibly can to do that knockout blow, or to get as far as you can so that you have the longest to retreat for the rest of the game, basically. It's extremely good, but it's played at a scale that's just totally not reflected in the book. But I really loved this, and if you were looking for an East Front campaign that's really meaty and has a lot in it, this is the one that I would recommend.
And
to
it's
you.
chip pull.
It's big, it's long. Yep, you can do it solo no
very
big
easy.
deal.
Yep.
But if you want to do it two-player and you're going to dedicate a lot of time to this, you're going to have an incredible time with this, that's for sure.
Well, I've got a couple more to cover, and then I'll turn it back to you. These are ones that I've read, so they will not... I might do a video on them. So this is a book that I read actually when I was in college, George Washington's War by Robert Leckie. And I also read another book by him called From Sea to Shining Sea. Yeah, there you go. But this was a really great overview of the entire American Revolutionary War. I think it was actually one of the first historical books I had read on that topic, and very much enjoyed it, learned a ton, understood a lot better what it meant, why it was done. One of my favorite podcasts is also History Doesn't Suck.
Sure.
And he literally covers America from the 1700s all the way through, and it's amazing. And I listen to that regularly when I'm alone traveling. But this book, I think, feels a lot like that because it goes into the social, the economic, the military, the political, all of it. And it's a really, really good book. And I would pair it with my favorite AMREB game, but also Washington's War, because that's literally what the book is called. That would be perfect. But I chose Liberty or Death, And I'll probably do a video, and I might talk about both of them. Oh, look, it's signed by Mark Herman.
Autographed by Mark Herman.
And this one's by Harold Buchanan. I have his autograph too. But anyway, great book. If you've not read this is one that I've read that I probably will skim over it again and try to do a video on. The other book that I have that I've read, and there's a great game that is based on it, right? Or what the book is based on. This book is called Montcalm and Wolfe, the French and Indian War by Francis Parkman. This was the first French and Indian War book that I've read, and I've read 3 or 4.
When did you read that?
I read this in college as well. There was a time in college where
we had very different college experiences.
Yeah, I found more interest in reading these books than reading my textbooks.
Oh, very similar to me then.
That's a problem. But this book is amazing, and I learned a lot about.
It's a very dense book.
Yeah, it's very dry. It is not, but it's good. I very much enjoyed it.
It explains everything.
Yep. I remember when I finished it, and you realize, both Montcalm and Wolfe die, right? They're both killed in the war near the very, very end, and it's just. The French and Indian War is so amazing to me. And I'm grateful for games like A Wilderness War and some of the others that we've played. But I feel like in order to truly understand and grasp what America is about, and when I say America, I mean the United States of America, you need to understand the basis of the French and Indian War. And if you don't understand that, I think it's very hard to make the connection to what America is really about. And I think this Wilderness War, we talked about it a lot tonight over dinner. I love this game. I'm terrible at this game.
I love this game.
I get brutally abused regularly on it, but I still enjoy playing it. And I love the asymmetry of the game. I love the fact that the French cannot stand up militarily to the British. I don't care who you are and what you say, it can't be done. You got to figure out how to win the game by doing your other things, right? By raiding, picking off weak forces here and there.
You have to force the British to make tactical blunders.
Yes.
And that's difficult.
It is.
But that's what... More than almost any other game that I have ever played, this is a game where you have so much input into it. Mm-hmm. The game will not play itself.
Yeah.
Even though there's like these kind of like big 3 main routes, the map is so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
And you will do so much movement and maneuver and feinting and bluffing and doing a big attack, but you've got your surprise and ambush cards and things. You will do so much in this game. And it is all at your whim.
Look at that.
You might have
nice that is.
Yeah, right. That's the nice Cube for Me insert as well. CubeForMe.com. Go buy those inserts.
This is one of the nicer ones that really work very well for me.
Yeah, Wilderness War is so good. I've never played a game that was the same, and I've played it going on 30 or 40 times.
Yeah, I've probably played it about 20 times, but. Anyway, this is a fantastic book. I would really love to read it again because it's been many years since I've read that. One other that I want to show. I just want to show these 3 books because these are ones that I'm reading and I'm not sure what games they fit into. I'm reading this one. This is called The Scratch of a Pen, 1763. So this is literally about the treaty that ended the French and Indian War and the proclamation line that was drawn, separating all the national powers that were still, and which ultimately set up the next war, right? Isn't that always the way it happens? Treaties lead to the next wars.
Often that's the case, yeah.
And this is a fantastic and interesting book because it deals a lot with the social side of the continent, or the colonials, and it's just really fascinating. I don't know what book this would go with, or game this would go with, but the book is amazing. I very much enjoyed this.
It looks like a short term.
Yeah, it's like $2.25.
Yeah.
The other 2 that I bought, I know exactly what games these are going to go with. Autumn of the Black Snake, and then this one is called Tecumseh and the Prophet. So these are 2 games, and you can see with
You
one,
have a theme. Huh?
yeah, I have a theme going on, and I need to break away from it a little bit.
Do you?
No, I really don't, because I'm just going to read these, and if I don't do a video, who cares? But
Also, before you say anything else, buy your book secondhand, okay?
Well,
this is
yeah.
from a Plymouth District Library.
Yeah.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
And I was okay with this because the price was ridiculous. I think I paid $6.95 for this.
I will always buy books secondhand.
But I really hate that.
Oh, see, I don't care.
See, I really hate it. It bothers the life out of me. Now, this one is a unused first edition, and I love these kind of books.
That's
right?
called a deckled edge.
There you go. It's just fancy. I feel like I need to read it with my pinky out.
It's funny because I think it's really lazy.
It
because
is.
They just didn't.
You're right.
But they're like, oh, we'll sell it as fancy.
Yeah, it's fancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is just great marketing from the publishing world, I think.
But these are 2 books that I'm reading, and then this one is a 3rd one that I think kind of all go in this, but I need to figure out what game potentially pairs with
what to do with some of them.
Yeah, but I'm going to read them no matter what.
That's just it.
I'm
And
enjoying
sometimes
them.
you don't have to.
So, yeah.
I think
so
the,
anyway, that's all I've got.
The last one I've got on the docket is this bad boy, which is Shelby Foote's Civil War narrative. Now, I just...
And if you don't know, Shelby Foote is a Southerner.
If you don't know.
And
tell.
his name is very Southern.
So I just finished Volume 2, and I have just started Volume 3. And I'm going to be honest, I'm really proud of myself.
Yeah, these are
because
huge.
I knew if I could get through, like most of the way through the second one, I would finish the whole thing. Because I read the first one, and I was exhausted. But I'm so glad I persisted and I continued with it.
This is 965 pages, 71 pages.
I think this one's like 1,200.
My goodness.
Yeah. So and that one's shorter. They get longer as they go on, which I do not appreciate.
So Fort Sumter to Perryville. This one is Fredericksburg to Meridian.
And this one's Red River to
Appomattox.
Appomattox. But the books themselves, they're very enjoyable, but they have honestly these pathetic little hand-drawn maps in them.
Oh, yeah.
I have the Civil War Battlefield Guide,
Oh, nice.
which is incredible and invaluable, and I would highly recommend reading that because it's so much more helpful. Because here you get a 4-page description of a battle with all the maneuvers, and if I've played the tactical game on it, I know what it looks like. But some of them we just haven't played.
Right.
And so I get out the guidebook, and it's got the OOB. It's got it all drawn out. It's got the advance arrows, the retreat arrows, where major things happened.
Sure.
Incredibly useful. But these books are a narrative. What I wanted was an overview of the Civil War, because I didn't really know. I knew it started with Sumter. And I knew that the Union won. I knew that Gettysburg was very important.
Yep.
And that lots of people died. If you had asked me anything more than that, I could have told you that they pissed around in the Shenandoah Valley for a while.
Well, and that's probably fairly accurate.
But none of those things were linked together in my brain.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have told you like what happened in it really. And so I wanted something that like was start to finish, here's everything. And this is that in a format that is eminently readable because he is an author. He is a writer. And so you read it and it's a story. And yes, he's never met an anecdote that he didn't love, and he puts them all in there. And sometimes you're like, well,
he's very folksy.
He's an extremely loquacious as well.
Yes, loves to hear his own voice.
But I love it,
and that's great. I like Shelby.
It makes it readable.
To be honest,
and the pacing of these books is both so slow, you can't get lost in it though.
Okay.
I know all the stuff that happened in the order or the things concurrently when they happened. And that's what I wanted out of this, so that I can break out into more specific battles or more specific things.
Wow.
Or to put into context some of the games that we played.
Yeah.
As a result, between this and GCACW is part of the reason why I'm on a massive ACW kick at the moment.
I think it's cool.
And it's really, this has helped, and I have some other books on the shelves already to kind of read. But like, we played a few ACW games.
We probably 4 or 5.
But it was hard for me to kind of connect with them as much because I just didn't know the history. And now I'm like, oh, it's all kind of fitting together like Tetris in my brain. So I've got a few. Volume 1 is on a channel already. Volume 2 I have to record, and that'll come soon. So things like Shiloh the First Day. This is volume
brand new game, by the way.
brand new. Hey, I know when Shiloh happened. I know the context in which it happened. I know what that battle looked like. And I know who was in command. And so when we play this, I have the context for that so that it is much more meaningful to me. We also have Prelude to Vicksburg. Vicksburg's a big old theme. Volume 2, there is a massive section of it that is just on the Vicksburg campaign.
Look at those.
These are the,
cool.
What's
Blind
it called?
Swords.
The Blind Swords series, which is by Herman Luttman originally, and I think now it's carried on by a few other different designers.
So Steve Carey did Shiloh, and I can't read that name.
Stephen Oliver.
Stephen Oliver did Prelude to Vicksburg. Chickasaw Bayou.
Yeah.
Is that...
But we also have Thunder on the Mississippi, which is the GCACW Vicksburg campaign.
Yep.
So we're going to play that. So we've got a couple of these games which fit into the books that I've read, and I'm so excited to play those. And it just happens to be that they're coming out at a time where I'm in the zone.
Both
for
of
them.
these are 2024 brand new games.
We will play both of these
So
this
we
year.
need to play these as well as Thunder on the Mississippi.
But yeah, even like On to Richmond 2, which was kind of my first real foray into GCACW, and like really also helped. It was this and the books that helped me to just like launch headlong into ACW. This box is massive, and it's chock full of stuff, and it's incredible.
And this game is very good. I made the comment kind of flippantly about the activation roll, which I do hate. I'm just going to be honest.
It's
unnecessary.
And I don't blame anyone for that.
Yeah, it's just...
This is a game system that was started by Hasbro, Avalon Hill, and has been around for a long time. It shows its age in parts, without question.
But it was a good game. I enjoyed the maneuver and what we were doing, and the combat was interesting and cool.
But I found playing ACW at this scale helped me connect with it so much more than, here's my line of blue guys, here's your line of gray guys. They fought, and lots of people didn't make it. Okay, for me, a tactical battle makes much more sense if I know the context of what's going on. And I didn't know anything about the American Civil War. That's the reality of it. And then lastly, we've got A Most Fearful Sacrifice, which is the
I loved this game.
Black Swan system, which is closely related
It's blind
to the Blind Swords.
with some very minor differences. It uses cards
instead of
rather
chits,
than chits.
but they also have the command structure, that downflow of command activation.
It's very
is
reminiscent
really
of that series.
But this is like the monster Gettysburg game.
Oh, and it's so
all
good.
3 days. It's absolutely everything in here. It takes up more space than most people have because it's huge.
Well, and it was funny because when we played this, we did not have this table.
No.
So we picked a one map scenario, and that is my greatest regret. I wish we had this table when we played.
Well,
because we would have played.
We're going to get back to this, I think.
Yeah.
Because this was Rick Barber did the maps. They're huge and they're stunning.
Oh, look at these cool custom dice that I got.
Did you get those after we played? Did you play with those?
You know, I got these at WBC from Flying Pig Games.
Okay. Why didn't you buy 100 of those?
Well, because I was trying to be responsible. So I bought, there were a pack of 6.
Hey, Mark, do you got any more of these?
They were $15. I think you could probably go on their website and buy them.
Okay.
But you can see, what number is that? What number is this?
Oh, no.
What number is the flag on? The 1.
Okay.
Ooh, look at that 6.
I have very quickly changed my mind on those.
They're still really cool, though.
They are.
They're very, very cool. I bought them. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
We can't all be winners.
But I bought 6.
No, those are awesome. But this is one of those games where, like, I read the Gettysburg stuff in here, and it's so grand, and it's the story of it and the aftermath. You get all of that in this box, and that's incredible.
it's a Rick Barber map,
Yeah,
and I think it's one of his last.
Yes, it wasn't
before
his
he
last,
passed.
but it was one of his
Yeah.
last. It was the last one I think he did for Flying Pig.
Yeah.
But they've got more from this series. They got Chickamauga coming up, which I read about Chickamauga.
There you go.
We played that. We played Chickamauga in
Yep.
Rebel Fury, and I'm like,
Yep.
oh, I'm reading about this.
I have been to that battlefield as well. So,
that's so cool.
Chickamauga, I've been to 3 or 4. Still haven't been to Gettysburg, and that's my biggest regret.
Yeah,
we were going to go last year, but I got
to
sick.
carve out time to do that.
So,
Well, now I want to go. Now I want to go to Chattanooga and see Missionary Ridge. Like,
sure.
yeah.
Sure. Well, let me say one other thing about this kind of journey that I'm on here. And thank you for encouraging me to do it and setting the example, so I decided to do it. But that book that I read, War Along the Wabash, I don't know if you realize this, 90 minutes from here
Yes.
is the site of that battle. And I'm going there one day.
Have we played St. Clair's Folly?
We have not.
We need to take St. Clair's Folly there and play it.
Yeah, that would be fun. But it literally, Alexander, it's 90 minutes up the road from your house. We could go, we could tour the back. There's not a lot there, right? We could get the game out, we could mess around, we could enjoy it, have a good time, connect with that history, and be back by 5 o'clock.
Yeah, we
need to do that
We gotta
one
do
day.
that. We gotta do that.
But that's what is beautiful to me about history.
Yeah.
I have always been a fan of history in Indiana and the old Northwest Territory, which is where my state is. But when you read a book like this, and I realize, oh my gosh, that's just right up the road. And I knew that.
Yeah, but it's...
But now I'm like, I could drive there. They have a cool little monument. They have a little bitty battlefield area. Why wouldn't I want to go to that?
But you also know that, like, right there, someone lives there who,
Yeah.
like, really loves that as their, like, local history. That's right. And, like...
They've read all these
You want to
books.
find that person
Yeah,
who's
and
going to
talk
take
to
you
it.
on the tour and,
Yep.
like, point out the things that aren't even the monuments
Yeah.
for.
The same thing with this one, Tecumseh and the Prophet. Prophetstown is in Indiana. It's just north of here. So there's so much great history in the state of Indiana, and I'm enjoying discovering it, and then
Yeah.
wanting to then, on a Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, run up there and check it out.
We gotta do that.
So
yeah.
anyway, that's my story here, and I'm sticking to it.
So yeah, the From Cover to Cover is a series that I have enjoyed doing, and I'm really glad that you're picking that up as well. But also,
I'll probably do 1 or 2 more and then I'll quit. But
and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to do. It's just like it happens to be something that comes up, but it made me more mindful to add non-fiction to my reading, because the reality is I didn't read a lot of non-fiction in reality, and it was a way for me to extract even more out of the war games that we do play.
Yeah.
And then it also has that knock-on effect of, okay, I bought a book called Wellington in India, which I'm very desperate to read, because I want to find war games about Wellington's India campaigns.
India. Yeah.
Because I don't know of any, and they're probably like...
There's probably a magazine.
Probably
game.
old crappy magazine games.
Yeah.
But if they're interesting enough, I would take a look at that, because that is a part of history that, I've read the Sharps Tiger books about, and it seemed interesting, but that's made up.
Yeah.
But I've got the book, and I want to use that to leverage myself into war games of that. So
Sure.
It's one of those things, just like war games. Ooh, I played this game. Oh, I want to play this game. Oh, I want to play this game.
Yeah.
The books do the same thing, and if
Yep.
you can line those two up, you can extract even more out of your
Yeah.
hobbies, and it's a richer experience.
Well, and one thing I would say is when I do my written interviews with all of these designers, one of the questions I ask every single one of them is about the OOB, right? Order of battle, where did you get it from? What research did you do? And then what sources would you most recommend on that
Yeah.
topic? Because I know wargamers want to connect with that history on a deeper level than just these games. They want to read something. I'm now realizing that again, and realizing it even more, and I'm looking forward to reading and playing and enriching that experience all the more.
Yeah.
But
So, thanks for sticking with us, by the way.
2 hours, I think, right?
Let us know what your kind of favorite books are that you've read on wargaming topics. I want to hear what you like. If you had like, this was an incredible book and it made me play this game, or I played this game and then led me to this incredible book, especially if it's a niche topic. Those are always like, "Whoa, I had no idea," and that like opens a new part of your brain. Always like that. So let us know what your favorite kind of historical books are, or anything that's like that. And put those in the comments. We want to hear from you guys, because that's also how word of mouth spreads. That's how we find new games and new books, is recommendations. Because one of you is going to put something in the comments today, and we're going to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think that that was a thing that there was a book on.
Well, and that's David Thompson recommended this. I read it, I now love it, and I love his game too. So absolutely, that's where we get this stuff from.
So let us
please
know.
recommend.
Yes, please. There is never a time it is inappropriate to recommend books and games to me.
Yeah.
So thanks for sticking with us.
Is there anything as sexy though as a cool pile of books like that?
Yes, a cool pile of war games.
Well, that's true, but look at that, how cool that is.
Lot.
Yeah, anyway, it's awesome. All right.
Yeah, books are a much more normal thing you can ask for Christmas for. When you go to like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? War games. They're like, sorry, what are you talking about? Just books, it's fine. I said books.
Yeah.
Books normal people like books, right?
Yeah.
But yes, thanks for sticking with us. Appreciate you tuning in. I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.
And I'm Grant.